What's up, everyone? It's Books&Looks TV. So for many, Halloween is a really great and fun holiday. You get to break into your most favorite character, whether it's creepy or fun, and you get to eat all the candy you want and just turn up. But for some, especially Black children, Halloween isn't always the most fun holiday. See, a lot of Black youth are raised as Christians and or Jehovah's Witnesses, and oftentimes they are told that celebrating Halloween is like celebrating the devil. I don't know about y'all, but like in the South, Hallelujah Night is a very popular night. It's like an alternative to Halloween for like Christians who want their children quote unquote in a safe place and again not worshiping the devil. So for me, when I was a child, I went to Hallelujah Night, and usually there was like a sermon at night, and there was like a little place where we could like play games and eat candy, but like we just really didn't talk about Halloween. We just talked about like serving God. And it's interesting because I've been thinking about it, and I saw my timeline how some people were just saying how traumatized it was or how unhappy they were as kids that they couldn't go out and like have fun. And to me, this is also similar to like Black youth who weren't allowed to read Harry Potter, at least me back in my day as someone who grew up in the 90s. But that's another topic for another day. But for the sake of this video, I will focus on Michael Jackson, who was a Jehovah's Witness, and his action that made him ostracized from the Jehovah's Witness faith and why he decided to leave. So for those who may or may not know, Michael Jackson, of course, was an international star, and he grew up in a pretty strict household. And one thing that Michael had to be disciplined in was practicing his religion, which was a Jehovah's Witness. Now, I don't know if you guys know, but Jehovah's Witnesses don't celebrate any holidays, particularly that aren't related to Jesus Christ. So I remember I used to tell my friend happy birthday, and he would say thanks, but I can't celebrate my birthday though. And I used to be like, why can't you celebrate your birthday? And he used to tell me like how it was against his religion. So I was like, okay, cool. I used to feel bad for him sometimes because when you know how you just sometimes forget because you're just so wrapped up into your own joy that people have limitations. So I remember on Thanksgiving, as we became like an adult, he would still come over my family's place and get a plate. And I used to be confused, but I was like, who cares? Just let him eat, right? So yeah, Michael Jackson, he was born very similar to that as a Jehovah's Witness. And again, one of his earliest and most successful videos was Thriller. Thriller would also become one of the best and greatest selling albums of all time. Just back in the day when movies were actually like storytelling videos, and you see Michael Jackson going to see a scary movie at a theater with his date. He acts normal for the most part on their walk home, but then he turns into a werewolf. The date's like, what the heck? And she pretty much runs away. So Michael goes into the dark neighborhood, and it's nighttime, of course, and it's infested by zombies. And y'all, they started juking. It seemed that Michael thoroughly enjoyed the video. His dance with the zombies went viral, and I bet you 9 times out of 10, if you go to a mainstream party, particularly one with a bunch of white people, they're gonna be doing their dance. However, despite the popularity of the video and the dance moves, what was ironic was that Michael Jackson didn't want the videos to be published. Michael Jackson remembered that his mother was an active Jehovah's Witness, his family in general, but specifically his mother because he was close to her. And he realized that if that video had been published, that his mother wouldn't be able to, him and his mother couldn't communicate. So I'm not sure if y'all know, but in the Jehovah's Witness religion, if you like do anything sinful, they can ostracize you. If you are like a practicing Jehovah's Witness and you do something and you confess it to like an elder, I don't know the proper name, I'm sorry, but like one of the clergymen, if you tell them like, oh, I've been constantly doing this, like they can like tell you can't sit with them, but you can come to church. But after so many times, from my understanding, they can kick you out. And so remember earlier I told you about my friend who was a Jehovah's Witness? Well, I remember once his mother invited me to go to the Kingdom Hall with them. And I sat with her, but he sat by himself, like on the side, like he was in timeout. And I remember after service, I asked him, like, why were you sitting by yourself? And he told me, because I like to fornicate. And like I knew he was someone who loved R&B music too, and he just loved women. But I was like, well, how they know you fornicating? And he said, basically in his religion, when you did something wrong, you would confess it, and they were supposed to guide you. But to them, you were kind of like a bad apple, and you would rub off on them the wrong way. And I was just like, wow, like this reminds me how like in the Christian church, if a girl gets pregnant, like she can't be in any of the ministries anymore, like choir. So like usually a girl would try to hide her pregnancy, or the mother, but sometimes they won't even bring them to church anymore if they're too far along in their pregnancy, because they feel like they put shame into the family. So again, I was just thinking about all of this and how Black youth often, they don't get to celebrate holidays the same even as adults, because they're taught it's wrong. And I'm not trying to change your beliefs at all, but I just noticed again that a lot of people suffer with trauma because of this. But again, back to the story of Michael Jackson, his decision on doing the Thriller movie, it caused him a lot of grief because he could no longer get in contact with his mother. I think what's also interesting about this opinion piece was that Michael Jackson's mother, Katherine Jackson, she did admit that when she had to dissociate herself from Michael, that was like the hardest thing for her. So I can't imagine choosing my religion over my children, but I know religion is very important to a lot of people. But it also like reflects that in the Black community, if you do anything that they don't believe in, like if you could say, oh, I have this certain political party, or I'm going to wear my hair short, or I'm going to dye my hair blue or get a piercing, like you're often rejected. And sometimes people in your age group, like your cousins, they may not reject you, or at least ultimately they might just be like, you're weird. But like elders, they're often like, well, I didn't raise you like to be like that. And it's like, well, you raised me to think for myself and for me to have individuality, and this is how I represent myself. But it seems like that religion as well as politics and sexuality, that could be like the top three that can get you cut off from the family. And it's really sad because ultimately it seems that Michael ended up alone, and I don't know, I just can't imagine someone not having their family around them, especially when they're so successful and they need their family. Like everyone needs their family, but imagine you being like this mega star and you can't even reach out to your family. You know, I feel like that's really hurtful. So yeah, that's why I want to talk about this subject. If you have like any similar opinions or any dissenting opinions, let me know below, and I'll see you guys next time.